confused in this Ebonics debate and discussion about the words. That's the point I want to get to. See, vocabulary is a very small part of a language. And those of you who know me or who have known me for a long time know that if vocabulary meant that you understood a language, I would be speaking the most perfect French. I have a good vocabulary in French. In fact, I've had a vocabulary in French since high school. You ask me, Virginia Gaffin shaking her head because she has a good vocabulary in French. But I can't speak the language fluently. Even though I have a good vocabulary, I have to rely on Dr. Barr. I take him and say, Dr. Barr, read this for me. Explain this to me. But my vocabulary, just to give me a word, I can give you a lot of meanings for French words, but I can't speak the language fluently because language is more than vocabulary. It's the structure, the sound, the philosophy of the language. That's what you have to get into in order to understand a language. And so if we look at Ebonics, we see all these words that we think that we understand. We say, oh yeah, I understand that. Why is that guy saying this is a different language? I understand it, the English words. This is just bad English. No, it's not. Look at English itself. English is 80% made up of Latin words. Latin-based words make up English. They either came from vulgar Latin or they came out of French or something, Old French. So you got words like debilitate, words like feast, host, chapel, chauffeur. All of those are English. I mean, those words are out of Latin. But yet English is not a Romance language. It's not like Italian, Spanish, and French. It's considered what kind of language? A Germanic language. Why is it a Germanic language and not a Romance language when most of its words come out of the Romance language? It is a Germanic language rather than a Romance language because the sounds of English and the structure of English are more like Dutch and German than they are like French and Italian. So when you listen to Ebonics, you have to listen carefully. You're not hearing English. You're hearing something else. And that's why vocabulary is the least. When people tell you about languages, if a linguist would tell you, if you're talking about a language, the least aspect of a language is its vocabulary. The main aspect is understanding the structure. What are the rules? How does this language operate? What's its philosophical worldview? How do people view different things? How do they count? How do they pronounce things? It's a different way. And what are the aspects of the language that are inherent in its history? Let me give you an example of what I mean by that, and then I'm round this out. See, in Ebonics, there are proverbs in Ebonics that are not in English, but they come out of the history. And when I was a young person growing up in Georgia and I was working in the cotton fields, and my uncle John Henry, he could carry 3 rows at the same time and pick cotton. He could pick 3 rows at the same time. I only picked 1. And he would see me struggling in a hot sun, and he would look over and he said, boy, you better learn how to work, or else work gonna work you. Now, that's not, I mean, that's an idiom of Ebonics. That's not an idiom of the English language. That's an idiom of my language. Comes from my people's history. Boy, trouble gonna fall, and when it falls, it ain't gonna fall on the ground, it's gonna fall on somebody. Those are idioms of the language. You see what I'm saying? That's a part of the lexicon. All languages have their own lexicons. Their lexicons come out of myths, come out of the legends of the people, come out of the histories of the people, you see. So the lexicon of Ebonics is rooted right in the history of the people. And that brings me to this point. I will never understand why so many African Americans got up and disparaged the language of their mothers and fathers. I'll never understand that. You can't make me understand that. There's no way in the world anyone else in this country or anywhere else in the world will ever stand up and speak against the language that brought their ancestors over. I've never heard it before. Or to laugh at it. That's insane. That just shows me how insane we are. And I'm saying that, look at this, understand me. I'm talking about the insanity of being misplaced, dislocated, out of sync with our own history, not understanding the genius of the people. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how we refuse as a people to understand that it is not our language that causes our problems. You know, it's not the language of black children that causes black children to be discriminated against in Oakland or here in Philadelphia. And I think James Baldwin said it best in the 1970s. James Baldwin said that the brutal truth is that white America never intended to educate black people. That it is not the language of the black child that is objected to, it is the black child. So part of what happens is that we get confused. We think, well, and it's the old thing we used to do before. If we just wore a shirt and a tie and speak clearly and articulate clearly, we'd be all right in America. You know what I'm saying? If we just straighten our hair, you know, and just did it, we'll be all there. Oh no, it's not that. You got it wrong. It's not any of those things. It is the objection to black people. That's the problem. And so when you understand that, you see very clearly that this whole question of Ebonics is a superficial issue.